Wonka, that stupid movie, that Shalamont, whatever your name is, Halamont, you are a bad actor. You are only in Hollywood by pretty privilege and by the fact that you are dating Kylie Jenner. You are not a good actor under any circumstance by any means of the word acting. You will never be a good actor. I'm so sorry. It's like supposedly he was like, oh, he's a theater kid. Da, da, da. That's what got him. Like anyone can be in theater. Just because you are in theater does not make you a theater kid. A theater kid is an archetype. Like, I'm not even going to get into it all because I'm not like the one to educate you on that. And I don't know everything there is to know, but I definitely know that Timothy Chalamet, whatever your name is, Chorizo, I really have no idea how to say his name. I'm going to look it up eventually so I can say it correctly so that when I critique him, it's taken more seriously because, like, honestly, he needs to take the criticism and run with it and figure it out because he's so bad. Y'all are so quick to talk about how a girl or a woman is a bad actress or something dumb, but literally, y'all won't say nothing. Y'all won't say nothing to guys who are horrible, horrible. They are so bad. They are so terrible. It makes me absolutely sick. It makes me sick. And I just got done eating corn dog. Tasted good. But literally, y'all will sit there and type be little incel losers and talk about how a girl or a woman is, oh, she's so bad, she's so horrible, she's not a good actress. But no one is going to drag this fool, this absolute fool, for being in a role that everyone knows that is in a well-established character, well-established, I would say. I feel like anyone who has watched the first Willy Wonka could be in a situation where you can pretend to be Willy Wonka. Like if you've seen Willy Wonka the Chocolate Factory, I don't know which one's which. I don't remember which one's which. In fact, I'm going to look it up. So basically, what I'm to gather from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is that he's the main character. Even though we see Charlie Bucket and whatnot, we are to assume that he is the main character, which would make me believe that Willy Wonka grew up poor. And that's what I think about Willy Wonka and whatnot. I guess we can go right into the Willy Wonka stuff because I just want to get it out of the way because it makes me sick. But literally, so what I'm to gather from that title, Willy Wonka is the main character of the 1971 film, 1971 Gene Wilder. He was a very good actor. I want you to watch any movie. I recommend the movie with Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor is a problem within himself. I like a few things he's done, like the toy. I think I don't remember what it's called, but it's there's a lot of things. Like I could critique him all day and night, and I'm not going to. This isn't about him. He set himself on fire. He was born on my birthday, and he used to put drugs on his penis before he had sex. So that's kind of what I can give you. That's what I can give you of Richard Pryor at this moment. So if you like any of those things, if any of those things interest you, he's never made it like, and the funniest thing is he made a movie about setting himself on fire. So like that's the type of guy he was. So if you all I know is Gene Wilder. Let's get back to Willy Wonka. Gene Wilder was a very good actor. So it's kind of like a hard act to follow to make a movie in his footsteps. So you either have to make a movie that's really good that follows in his footsteps, or you have to make a completely new character. And that's what Johnny Depp did in the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Funny enough, even though they changed the name to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, not only to make it to where, oh, we know which one's which, but they also kept Willy Wonka as the main character still without giving the parallel of he used to be poor, because technically we know from Johnny Depp's portrayal of Willy Wonka he didn't, because his father was a dentist, and whether you are a dentist, doctor, whatever, if you are something that can be used to benefit society, you can make money off of it. So he wasn't, it kind of looked like he lived in the complex. Like, I'm not gonna say he's completely rich and wealthy, but what I will say is he had money. He had some sort of money. They weren't living on the streets. They were not like Charlie Bucket. They weren't living in no small house. They had a business. People knew them. He went around during Halloween and he was like, they were like, oh, the Wonka boy, because they knew him. He was going trick or treating, and poor kids, even though there are some facets of society in which we can partake in if we are rich and poor, like poor kids, 9 times out of 10 probably want, I'm pretty sure Charlie is not going trick or treating. I don't, maybe he would have. I'm talking about the betrayal of him just being poor. I'm not even talking about I am a surgeon, Charlie from Johnny Depp's Portrayal. I'm talking about 1971, Charlie and the Chocolate, Willy Wonka and the Charlie. I'm talking about that, okay? I'm just talking about the fact that he's poor. So I just assumed, using literary knowledge and understanding of the character, that the reason why Willy Wonka chose him was because he saw himself in him. The whole thing is about passing on your legacy. And why would Willy Wonka pick someone who was already in good standing? All the other kids had either money or they were not poor. They were not poor. Augustus Gloop had enough money to where he could eat continuously and be fine. Veruca Salt had money. Literally, she was the archetype of the rich, spoiled girl who always gets what she wants from Daddy. And in that portrayal, because like things were different, and I can't necessarily remember everything, but I do remember that he was like, "Name your price" in the 1971 portrayal. I'm getting to Charlemagne, whatever his name is, Charlemagne the loser. I don't know his name. Timothy. I might probably have to call him Timothy Turner. I'm literally gonna just say Timothy Turner, and you're gonna have to know that I mean the dude that looks like he is from Victorian England and he has the plague. That's the best way I can describe that man, especially one who was on SNL with Kim Kardashian's ex-boyfriend, Pete Davidson. Isn't it ironic that Timothy Turner is now dating Kylie Jenner, but maybe they're not together, maybe they are together. We never know. I really don't care. I don't care. It's just not something that I care for. So I'm not gonna really know or understand the whole situation. All I know is things were different, but I gathered that Wonka came from poverty. And this new Wonka, as I was watching it, saw that he came from poverty. It was really, it was like, wow, cool. That's what I expected. Because in the first one, 1971, with Gene Wilder, it was less like, oh, he was poor. They didn't really show him being poor. That's why it's kind of funny how it's called Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, because we don't get much from him except from the perspective of Charlie Bucket. And for some reason, doing the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, it's like, Timothy Turner, modern day plague victim, Pete Davidson, collaborator, and failed Willy Wonka. Got it. Yes, thank you. That's basically what his name is. I don't, you know who I'm talking about. It's Timothy Chalamet, whatever his name is. He's got very chiseled face, and I think that's why people call him attractive. I personally don't think he is to me. So I was happy in this new Willy Wonka that he came from poverty. And we talked about his mom, but it's like I'm so sick of seeing these whole sad stories where it's like the mom's gone. Like the dads get to be in every single story, nonstop, every single story. Like I think the only time the when dad's not there, there's an evil stepmom there or someone that is just, it's so horrible. The moms don't even get to be cool. They don't get to be nice or whatever. And when they are just this fluffy character that you don't know anything about, or their wants, needs, desires, cares. They're just a fluffy character to be like, I support you. Main character, most likely male, most likely white. And if not, and if it is a woman and they are ethnic or whatever, it's still a fluffy character that no one cares about. And she kind of gave that. She kind of, the mom of Willy Wonka, it was kind of like, here, I'm here to boister my son up. And it's like, yes, okay, cool, because it's called Wonka. It's not called, well, technically, actually, they could have actually did a little more with her character because it's called Wonka. Is it called Willy Wonka? I thought it was called Wonka Wonka. And regardless, that is her last name. So technically, they could have did a lot more and they didn't. Maybe there was stuff that was cut out and they were just like, throw this on the floor. We just want more Timothy Turner. We just want this dude here because everyone thinks he's so good looking. That's exactly why he got the role. He didn't get the role because he can sing, because like this is, was kind of fooled. And I personally, I don't remember if anyone said it was a musical. I don't mind musicals. I'm someone who doesn't really mind musicals. I like musicals. The Greatest Showman, there were a lot of nice songs in The Greatest Showman. There's a lot of critiques I have of The Greatest Showman, and I have a I don't know what her name is. I may, if I remember, I'll look it online and show you a woman I follow. She's of the LGBT plus community, and she did a very good job at dissecting the ableism within Barnaby and all the people who did like who exploited people, and then the people who used that facet of freak shows and whatnot to actually make a name for themselves and be successful in life and support their other disabled people. It's just, she just does a really good job at doing that, and I'm not someone who knows enough about it to say that and explain everything on my channel. I can just say that, yeah, it's pretty cool. But all in all, like I said, so this is a musical. I don't know, I'm not gonna say I was fooled into watching it, but they didn't make a lot of effort to tell everyone that it was a musical, because that's what they do. They do that so that people aren't like turned off that it's a musical and they just go see the movie. I'm gonna get some water. And um it would have been nice if they got someone who could sing. I'm so sick of y'all getting, and I actually saw a thing, and I might do a short video about it, about people just grabbing celebrities for their celebrity and not for the fact that they can do the job correctly. And most likely, usually, it is a guy doing that. Like they just let guys do whatever they want. Sometimes it's women, sometimes it's women. They will grab a woman who isn't known for being a voice actress or a voice actor, and they will put them in a voice actor role. Biggest prime example, Chris Pratt is the worst Garfield I've ever heard in my entire life. He fumbled Mario, and I'm not even a Mario fan. Like I could care less. I never have yet to watch the movie. I don't care about Mario. Never played Mario. The closest thing I played from Mario was Mario Kart or Mario World or whatever on the Wii or whatever that thing was. That's what I played. That was it. I didn't do anything else. I think I've played Smash Bros like twice, and I don't think I picked Mario or Luigi or anybody from there. Like I'm not someone who is going to die on some hill about Mario. But what I can say is when I hear that loser's scum voice, Crisp Rat's voice, it makes me sick because he's not even that good of an actor. If I am being honest, someone who watched Jurassic Park from conception, from when it first, very first one, second one, third one, the ones that everyone remembers in awe, the one that changed cinema history, the ones that changed cinema history. I would say the first one is more like changed. The rest of the ones are like, gets a little less exciting. Second one I really liked. Jeff Goldblum. He carried the main three people, the woman, the man, I can't remember his name. He was Wolsey or something in Tudors. I can't remember. Tudor, another show that I want to talk about. But him and Jeff Goldblum, those three, they carried the film, carried it. They carried it. And the other people who were in it, they were like, okay, yeah, you're there and all that. But they didn't ruin it, right? They didn't ruin it. Chris Pratt ruined Jurassic World. And then they're going to dare grab him from Star-Lord when Star-Lord is a very easy character to play. Any old humbum dude off the street could have played Star-Lord. I don't know why people say that Chris Pratt's Star-Lord is so great. He is literally bum basic loser guy, scrub. You know who did that loser guy scrub part better. And I'm not talking about the live action. I'm talking about Beatbox Boy, whatever. Bebop anime. I don't watch that anime. I've seen it like once or twice ever. And I didn't watch it in order. It was just on. So I just watched whatever was on, and that kind of reminds me of like what Star Lord was going for. But Chris Pratt is such a bad actor, and y'all just let him get away with it just because he's a white dude. That's literally the only explanation I can come to, because he's not that attractive at all. I wouldn't put him in the top nothing. Like he's not like, he has nothing to offer. He's not a good actor. And then you're going to grab his voice and put it in a character that already is established, who's been established for a very long time. So we kind of have an idea of what he sounds like and looks like. What's that guy's name? Bill Burr, whatever. I don't know what his name is. I don't know. I don't think it's Bill Burr. Bill Murray. I think it's Bill Murray. The guy who played Garfield in the live action, those live action days with Alvin and Chipmunks and stuff, they were on a roll because Scooby Doo looked really nice. I really like Scooby Doo. Like going from animation to live action, Scooby Doo, Mystery Incorporated, Scooby Doo, Mysteries, whatever. That was good. Y'all did a very good job on that. That was lovely. Applaud to you. Y'all kind of blew it with the other things. There was these new Scooby Doos that looked very strange, and they were on Cartoon Network. One of them was on Cartoon Network. The other one I don't remember, and I can't remember if they were the same in the same line or if they were the same people. Regardless, I don't care. The one with Sarah Michelle Gellar, the one with Matthew Lillard. I want to meet Matthew Lillard so bad. Like I feel like he and I would get along, even though he's like way older than me. But like I don't know, I really want to meet Matthew Lillard really bad. Like that's one of the people I want to meet, like really bad. And Freddie Prince Jr., whatever his name is, from I Know What You Did Last Summer, who's AKA the Iron Bull from Dragon Age Inquisition, the only Dragon Age I ever played, because I don't know about Dragon Age lore. I don't know about Dragon Dogma or whatever that the line is. I have no idea. I just know that I wanted to be Kunari because they had horns and they looked like dragons. And he even talked about it. And it's like Iron Bull, awesome. If you want to see me play Dragon Age Inquisition, I have a playthrough that I started, but I didn't finish it because it's a very difficult game. And if you want me to play it, you got to like watch the clips. I've got like over 30 plus clips of me playing. So you got to watch it, like it, put some traction on it so that I can be like, oh, you're interested? Let me keep playing it. I can't play something that looks like people are interested in unless I really, really want to play it. Like I'm really going to try to play Silent Hill. Like I have a way to play it and I'm going to stream it, and I'm going to try to stream it from Xbox to Twitch to YouTube. And I don't know if that's going to work. I don't know how that works. I'm not like savvy in that way, but we kind of got off a little off the tracks. Let's go back to Wonka. Okay. So let's just start with Charlemagne. I told you, Chris Pratt is a guy who gets to do anything and everything he wants. This guy, Charlemagne, whatever, Timothy Turner, he gets to do whatever he wants, even though he's not a singer. This is a musical, mind you. They got a non-singer, used his voice. That unless if that's not his voice, they picked a terrible voice too. If it's not his singing voice, it's very bad. It's very bad and very much so ruins the experience when he's singing. Literally every other character around him does better. So he comes from poverty. This is the Wonka movie, the new Wonka movie. He comes from poverty. His mom is a person that is just breathing life into him, and she has no agency of her own. She's just like living for her son. Um, Father's nowhere to be found. It doesn't really matter. And let me get a drink. And he's like trying to sell candy in the streets or whatever. He's got money, and it shows that he's very gullible, and he also can't read, which is very interesting. It's very interesting what happens here, because it's another one of those things where it's like what I noticed about this was, I think I knew that there was a black girl lead, like a black kid, like a little black girl. She was one reason why I wanted to watch this, to support her. But I never was like, you know what? Let me think about Willy Wonka. I ain't never thought about Willy Wonka a day in my life. Like once Johnny Depp did that role and was trying to play like a Michael Jackson who aged backwards like Benjamin Button brain-wise. I really didn't have anything else to deal like. I like the fact that some of the like the camp of that the camp of that movie was great. I loved the campiness. That was so campy. I loved it. But I don't know. It was not a good performance. He's done better performances. But that's one reason why a lot of people didn't really have much interest in Wonka, but then they made this movie and then they're like it's a musical and I thought, "Okay, that can work." And I don't understand why they still have Oompa Loompas as like they are literally like a caricature for like indigenous islanders and I don't like it gets worse like okay at best indigenous islanders, at worst complete and total utter slaves. Like there's really no way around it. There's no reason why you have to get a person who is average size to shrink them. It's just we need to let Willy Wonka go. If you guys aren't going to talk about how he is pro capitalism and the whole reason why he's making candy that have meals in it is so that you don't have to go on lunch break at work. You can eat a gum, chew it, and get back to goddamn work so that you're not sitting on your behind and not making that company money. That is why he's making meals in a singular candy bar or a singular gum. That is the only reason why he's doing it. He is exploiting Oompa Loompas who are not getting anything in return except being like slaves. That's what they are essentially. I'm super glad that like and I don't even understand like there was no reason to even have an Oompa Loompa in this movie. It like what the Oompa Loompa did in this movie, the black girl could have done and she did not have to be right next to Wonka and they didn't have to have that like oh da 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 and then like she taught him how to read. She taught him how to read, so it's like it's another one of those things where, like, they have a black girl specifically, sometimes it's a black boy, supporting the main character and not having any agency of their own. Her personality pushes back against that archetype, but nonetheless, it is still there. It's still there. Like, this situation is still a problem. And the funniest thing about the girl's character is there's only one dark-skinned black man in this movie, and it is quite obvious that she is the daughter of him, and it's Slugsworth or whatever Slugworth, whatever that guy's name was, who was working with Willy Wonka in 1971 when he was in the alley with Charlie talk about I'm gonna make you rich. He talked to all of the kids, mind you. It showed him talking to all of the kids that were going to Wonka's place and he told each one of them, I will make you rich if you steal um from the factory. And that is something that people don't get as to why they were not chosen, especially as well, which was another reason why I was kind of upset because, like I said, I always thought that Willy Wonka got Charlie because it was his mirrored life, but it kind of goes out the window when you include Slugsworth or Slugworth, whatever his name is, because he's working with this dude who he pretends is someone who's been trying to steal his stuff, but they've been working together. It's like a double agent situation. And he tells Charlie, "Oh, I'm going to make you rich." He took the candy. He took that candy and rightfully so. Like the whole like I said, 1971 Wonka and I could argue Johnny Depp's Wonka were pro capitalism, anti-union, horrible people. Like they literally he like I'm going to keep bringing this up. If anyone wants to argue with me, I'm just going to say, so why did he try to make candy so that you would only have to chew candy for a little bit and you would be full a meal. It's so like I said, it's so that you can get back to work, get back to your job. You don't need an hour for lunch. You don't need 30 minutes. You don't need 15 minutes. You don't even need 5 minutes. Get back to work. You're not even going to go use the restroom. Go in a bottle. That's what they want. That's what they want. But whatever. Anyway, literally Slugsworth, he was black in the movie and I don't No one even made a fuss about that either. Like, it's very funny how people pick and choose when they're upset when someone's black and when they're not. Especially since, like I said, no one was really like wanting a Wonka anything. And if they were gonna do a Wonka anything, I would have liked a musical of the old story. But the funny thing is, there it kind of was a it was okay. I don't know if it's a originally a musical because they did sing. Veruca was like, "I Want It Now," 1971. For those wondering, that's what I'm talking about. And Oompa Loompas were singing, and then the Oompa Loompas were singing in the Johnny Depp one too. But it's not like it was a musical. I never looked at it like it was a musical. Like there's some I don't know. I guess if you sing at all, I guess you can call it a musical. But what I don't know. I don't know. I feel like there was no reason to have a Willy Wonka movie. They literally wasted money. You could have sent that to Palestine. Like you could have sent that money somewhere to help people, to help indigenous people. Because guess what? Like I said, at best, it's indigenous people that he was on their land and took their stuff. And it's funny because in the new one, the whole thing is he stole from the Oompa Loompas, and the Oompa Loompa that was in charge of making sure that the cacao beans were protected got sent away and told to I don't remember because like this movie did not keep my interest. I literally like was doing other things and I didn't even like that's as far as I can remember. Like they sent him away and I don't know why. Like specifically, like if it was oh go get back the cocoa beans or oh you must do this or whatever, however long, but he needed to get whatever Wonka had, and he kept having this jar. It looked like a jar of stuff, and he kept making up stuff. Like he was like, "Oh, it's a ooga beetle, and the ooga boogas come out of your butt." And it's like, I feel like they should have did a little more world building before they went right into Willy Wonka making. Like maybe they should have did Willy Wonka as a young kid with his mom alive, and then two could have been about what they did with this movie. There's not enough world building for me to care. It's like the brightness of it is very cool. I like that I can actually see the movie. That's what I can say about it is I never had to adjust my brightness because it's too dark. Like a big theme that they have in movies nowadays is they just keep them like it's so dark you can't even see the martial arts or fighting or anything, and it's so that they can hide mistakes. And it's crazy how you're doing that in 2024. 2023. It's crazy how you're doing that when you can just fix them or be better. But they want to move things out, move them along as quickly as possible because like I said, it's we're all in one big machine and we're just one cog and if we stop, they stop making money. And that's what I want. I want a movie about Willy Wonka as the bad guy because he is. And the second one kind of makes him into this lovable bad guy because even though and there's a lot of there was a strange depiction of an Indian person in the Johnny Depp one that I'm not really going to get into because that's not necessarily my fight. I'm not Indian. So I can't really be like I can only say that that seemed offensive to me and it's like it's like this white dude is telling him, "Oh, I know better," and then he actually does know better when it's like he wrote it that way. So it's like, okay, but whatever. All I know is he was a lovable bad guy because they show him seeing the Oompa Loompas out in their native land and he also makes it seem like oh your stuff's he's like oh it's good but he knows that he thinks it's nasty. He's a colonizer and he's collecting things and he's like oh they work for me now, they work for him now, they work for him. Like I guess he I don't know he makes it seem like they're his all I know is they're workers that essentially are slaves essentially, and I'm not going to argue with people about what is and isn't slavery because oh well they've got clothes they've got like I'm not like once I hear arguments like that I'm done talking. I'm like all I know is the Oompa Loompas have always been coded as either an indigenous group or straight up slaves and people who were seen as less than Willy Wonka because he's sitting up there enjoying everything and they're making the stuff but he's the genius who understands. And how does he the new one, this is what I'm talking about right now, the new Wonka, how does Wonka know chemistry enough to make chocolate but he can't read? Sounds like a Mary Sue, but I'm just saying, like, it's against my religion to know Mary Sue or what a Mary Sue is, so I'm gonna just leave that there. It's very interesting. No one's talking about Willy Wonka's a Mary Sue. He can't read. He said, "I need this is what happens in the movie." Spoiler, by the way, I didn't really say that, but literally, he uses giraffe milk. But this is what happens. The girl is like, "Oh," the black girl. She's like, "Oh, what do you need?" He's like, "I'm running out of ingredients." And I don't this is crazy. This is what happens. So, he stays at this inn or whatever, and when he's done and he wants to leave, they it's a woman and a man. It's like a woman and some big burly dude, and they lock him up with all the other people who couldn't pay their way out cuz she made him sign something. And it's kind of like a hint. It's like where he got it from, where he makes people sign stuff in the fine print of stuff, cuz he made the parents sign stuff when they went into the factory and they didn't read everything. So they're basically saying that's where Wonka got it from, these slimy losers who are supposed to be the bad guys. And like I said, it's very funny how they do that, but they still have no idea that Willy Wonka's the bad guy. People do not understand that. He is the bad guy. He is the bad guy. And I'm going to say that one more time. He is the bad guy. But Hollywood has yet to make a depiction of him where that is actually understood. It's not understood in the first one, it's not understood in the second one, and it's still not understood. They make him very it's like very interesting how they know they when it's someone who is a minority, ethnic or a girl or woman or trans, like, or bi, or like anything that is treated poorly, anybody that's treated poorly, any group of people who are treated poorly, non-binary, like, it's crazy how they will make it so quickly us out to be the bad guy and then make tons of excuses for men. And here's an example that I was just thinking about to make sure that it made sense in this instance. Cersei Lannister in Game of Thrones. Cersei and Jaime Lannister are twins. I don't read the books, George R. R. Martin, whatnot, so all I know is what I've seen on the TV show and what people talk about. And from what I understand, Jamie is evil and gross. Cersei is evil and gross. But funny enough, the only person who gets to have a redemption arc by their death in the show is Jamie. And they say he goes back or whatever just because she, like, da 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 da, but like, he's essentially redeemed by Brienne of Tarth writing his name in the whole thing and what he did, because he never was in the book because he killed the previous king and he's the Kingslayer or whatnot. So he wasn't in the book of Knights or whatever. But like, Cersei Lannister, what happened with her was she was evil and mean. She was evil and mean to the girl that was prettier than her or whatever, trying to take her son, even though she was trying to take her son, she wasn't trying to compete with her son. They treat her like that. She gets assaulted. She gets assaulted by her husband constantly. She gets assaulted by almost every person that she's in the vicinity of when it comes to her like, it's like, "You're the queen mother and nothing more." That's what her uncle said to her. And I can't remember if that was before or after her walk of atonement. I do believe it was after. I can't remember. But she gets the walk of atonement where she's got to be naked and walk in the streets while people throw stuff at her and they see her nudeness. Like back in the day, that was like the worst thing that you could go through. And then they make her out to be horrible. Mind you, men wrote her to have another woman assaulted. Men wrote her like that. So let's not act like Cersei was going to do that if that was going to be a thing. And like I said, I don't know what happened in the books. All I know is what happened in the TV show, and they didn't have to do that. They made a lot of questionable decisions when it comes to the women. But what I'm telling you right now is Jon Snow, he gets redemption. He gets redemption. He gets to live. He gets to go out with the wildlings and have another wildling girlfriend. Daenerys Stormborn, she gets killed. And like I said, Tyrion, Tywin, Jaime Lannister and Cersei, twins. But interestingly enough, the entire run of the show, one of them is treated differently, literally by everyone, including the people who are watching the show. Everyone thinks Jaime Lannister is very redeemable when he actually isn't, and Cersei is far more redeemable. But no one's gonna say that because they're like, well, what about when she did this? Ooh, what about when she did this? And the gotcha moments are coming from men who wrote her like that. So that's crazy. But okay, back to the show. So back to the movie. Wonka. So like I said, this is the fine print thing. He didn't read the fine print, and the fine print was like, oh, this is you're gonna get charged for all this. He can't pay it because he was robbed basically. As coming into town, he gave all his money away somehow, and then he lost his last shilling or whatever into the water or whatever. So he couldn't afford it. So he gets to be a servant. And then this is another thing that bothers me a lot. This this plot point did not have to be a thing. Maybe it's in the books. I have no idea. Please let me know if this is in the books, but I feel like they just made this crap up and they just made this movie and it's gross. So now he's a servant with a black woman, a white guy who used to work for Slugsworth or whatever his name is, and another person that's a comedian who's a white guy. So it's them, and I think there's another girl, but I can't remember. Like I said, this is a very boring movie. And they all sing. And the funniest thing is them singing together is like better than Wonka singing by himself or with anyone. And also he's singing out in the streets and everyone's looking at him crazy. And he looks like he's dancing with a bunch of people. So it already shows that Wonka is unwell. It shows the audience that Wonka is very unwell because at least when they sing and dance and stuff, they're singing there because they're sweeping. They're like, we're sweeping, we're singing. Like they're doing stuff like that. Like, but he's out in the streets and he's singing and stuff with no one. But from his perspective, he's singing and whatnot. So like that happened. He's trying to sell his stuff in the streets, and that's when the three bad guys come out. And also, mind you, all this is happening while Keegan Michael Key, from Key and Peele, the two guys, the guy who is considerably less funny without Michael Peele with him. Michael Peele is the guy who made Get Out, the guy who's the one who made Us, the one who made Nope. He made all those. He was the director or whatever, I guess. But he and him, they used to be a comedy duo. And I personally feel like um, when they're not doing caricatures of women and being mean about it, like misogynoir style, I feel like they're funny. And I feel like Keegan Michael Key is less funny without his like partner. Like Penn and Teller, like when Penn was on The Apprentice, Penn Jillette, I was like, I think they were both on there together. I can't remember. I don't remember if they were on there together. I think he was there by himself. Regardless, when I saw him by himself, I was like, a little less funny, a little less funny. But there's always someone who's a little more funny. Like there's always going to be someone who's funnier. Like, but they literally, the singing is terrible from Timothy Turner. He's the worst singer in this musical, and he's the main character. It's called Wonka. So they got some loser scrub piece of garbage just because of where his stature is, what his perception in society is right now, what people perceive of him. And he didn't earn this spot by any means, but no one's going to tell you that he didn't earn his spot. They're just going to like say, "Oh my goodness, I love," like notice how no one's talking about Wonka, but people are talking about how bad Madam Web was. I didn't watch Madam Web. I can't say if it was good or bad or not. But I like you're going to get the girl from 50 Shades of Grey which is already already a bad movie, terrible book. Horrible. Women are treated poorly, terribly. And I'm not even talking about the BDSM. I'm talking about the fact that somebody's mother in that book is not called by her name, but called crack and then something horrible and derogatory the entire time. And yes, that was made by a woman, if I'm not mistaken. So it's simp. It's very much simp pick me behavior from her. But this guy didn't earn his right to be in this movie, and it's very sad because it's going to keep happening. Chris Pratt, Timothy Turner, he's going to keep getting roles for no reason. No one wants to see him. He's not good. He's not charismatic. There's nothing about him that I want to enjoy in a movie at all. He can stop. He's with a Kardashian. He can stop. You've got your sugar mama. You've got your sugar mama. You don't have to work no more. So, they're in there, and then he leaves sometimes. He leaves while they sit there. I don't know if they sit there or if they pretend to leave, but they're not supposed to leave. They're literally stuck in there, and they're supposed to make everything work. Like, they're supposed to clean the linens and clean stuff so that when another person comes, it looks clean up in there. And this is where he meets the black girl, and I don't remember her name because, like I said, this is very, like, if Wonka's name wasn't Wonka, I wouldn't remember his name either. But I did spoil that she's related to Slugsworth, and it's ridiculous because, like I said, if you want me to think that that's not the case, then how about have more black people in your movie? You've got Keegan Michael Key in there, who is obviously biracial. He's very obviously biracial, and everyone knows he's biracial. And this girl she looks to be fully black, and the only fully black other person in the movie is Slugsworth. And Slugsworth is the only one that's name I recognize. I don't know if the other two people were referenced in the Johnny Depp movie or in the 1971 movie, but all I know is I remember Slugsworth. So it's obvious, it's super obvious where the story's going, and the story does not have to do twists and turns for no reason. Like, I think that's where a lot of people who write get it twisted. You're supposed to, like, oh, you're supposed to subvert expectations. Dumb and Dumber from Game of Thrones, the TV show, that's what they wanted to do instead of actually making a cohesive story. And you can know that the hero was going to win in the end. That's basically what every anime is. No matter if they're down and out, someone's dead, somehow their heart's gonna start again. They're gonna re-engage in the art. Like, they're literally, that's what anime is. It's very easy to know what's gonna happen. Sometimes it's not. Like, there's an anime where everyone died, and I was like, wow. It's like a Kala La Kill or something, a Kamiga Kill. I don't know what it's called. All I know is it was kind of like my Game of Thrones, anime Game of Thrones. Literally everyone died. Literally. It was like, okay, guess there's no season 2. I think there was one survivor, and I'm so glad, but they didn't even make her out to be like the main character. Again, like, people who make anime don't think women should exist in this world. If we like could not bear children, and they don't think women who can't bear children, they don't consider them women, like, no matter what. But, like, if we had no use for them, they wouldn't have women in anything. That a long time ago they had men dress up as women because they didn't want women to be on TV or whatever, like on stuff like the theater and whatnot. They would have little boys and stuff, and men dress up as women so that they wouldn't even have to hire women to do it. Like, but like, that's where he meets her, and this is what I was even bringing this up for, because he's like, I'm running out of ingredients. Where'd he get the ingredients? Only the Lord knows where he got the current ingredients he's making chocolate with, where he gives the chocolates away, saying that he's going to have a place, a business, and he's trying to make everybody interested in buying the candy before it's out. And he gives the candy to 3 guys. One guy who is like, kind of reminds me of the guy who plays Bill Dauterive. He's got glasses. There's one guy that's a little skinny, and then there's a little bigger guy, and then there's Slugsworth, who's black now. And no one, like I said, no one cared. No one talks about it because, like I said, no one watched the movie. I don't know if it did good or not, but no one watched the movie, and no one's going to talk about how bad it is, but they're going to talk about Madam Web. Interesting. It's very bad. This is a very bad movie. And that he lets them try it, and he thinks they're going to like it, and they say it's trash, but they say it's too good. So they are like basically calling Keegan Michael Key, and this is crazy. This is something that didn't really have to be in the movie. So Rowan Atkinson is in this movie, and he's like kind of here, but not at all. He's like the Vatican. He's like the clergyman who is corrupt. For some reason, they had to have a clergyman that was corrupt for some reason, because he literally has no part in the movie, except when they release a giraffe because he's got like 10 million men to fight or whatever. And when it's just like you don't have a gun on screen if you're not going to shoot it. And they made it seem like he was going to have this army of men who were going to fight for him, and I don't think we ever see them at all. Like, the whole reason the Vatican, underneath the Vatican, is like a big old vault of chocolate, and I don't know why the chocolate's already made. I don't know why or how it can stay clean and fresh down there. Like, there is no explanation. It's just like turn your brain off and just accept that there's chocolate underneath the church. And it's also guarded by a dozen or 1,000 or 100 men, clergymen. And there's the Vatican guy who is played by Rowan Atkinson. Like I said, he didn't need to be in here. There was no reason. I don't even think he had a song. It would have been nice to see a song from him. I think they cut it. If there wasn't one, because I don't remember one, they cut it, because why would he be in this movie? If it's a musical, usually the people who you see, just like, okay, Les Miserables is a movie that I saw. It was a little boring. What's that other one called? Sweeney Todd. I like Sweeney Todd a little bit, but it was kind of boring. Like, it's a movie where it's like you have to be fully awake to watch that movie or you're gonna fall asleep. But a lot of the songs that I like on there, I like the I can't remember what it's called. It's like um like, you are my friend, my very special friend. And then she's like, I'm your friend too, Mr. Todd. If you only knew Mr. Todd. Like that one. I like that one. I got that one on my phone. There's a few ones that I like. Another thing about that movie is there were a lot of heavy hitters. When Johnny Depp could act, he was doing a decent job in that movie. When he could, yeah. Helena, you know that girl. She was a heavy hitter. Alan Rickman, he's one of the biggest heavy hitters in Hollywood. He passed away. He was Snape in Harry Potter, and another Harry Potter guy who played Scabbers. What's that dude's name? Ringtail. I don't know what his name is. All I know is he was in this. He's a heavy hitter. He's a good actor. You can't have a musical with bad actors, and especially people who can't sing. And a lot of people couldn't sing in Sweeney Todd. A lot of people couldn't sing in Sweeney Todd, but they were good actors. They acted like they could sing. Like the My Lord, if you please, my Lord. Like that was he tried. He tried. Timothy Turner did not try. He did not try. Please listen to like one song that boy sings and tell me it's so good. Tell me it's good. Lie to my face. Lie to my face. Please. But so that happens. They're like, yeah, they send Keegan Michael Key to basically say, stop. It's funny because he grabs him and he puts him in the water and he's like, stop making candy. And he's like, I didn't hear you. And then he put him in the water again. He's like, stop. And he's like, I don't understand what you're talking about. He's like, oh, okay, sorry. I just been upset. And he gets considerably fat over time. And they give him a fat suit because he eats so much chocolate. Instead of money, this place is just like loving chocolate like it's crack. And so the police get bribed with chocolate and not money. When the whole reason to make chocolate, like, this is why I know they don't understand. Like, they make him poor, they make Wonka poor, they make a big deal about him making money, but he's literally getting, like, there's no money involved when it comes to the police. They try to make it funny. That's why it's not funny. This is capitalism. This is corruption. He should not be getting paid in chocolate. He should be getting paid in money because it's important to the story of Willy Wonka that you let the audience know he's capitalist scum. But they don't. They don't. They never do. This movie kind of makes it's crazy because it's like he starts poor. He starts poor. The whole story is supposed to be kind of like how money corrupts. Like, and it's like, not that you should stay poor forever, but like getting out of the situation, you can go one way or the other. And Wonka being very selfish and trying to keep it kind of puts it on its ear. Like his original story, if I'm not mistaken, is basically like he's got such the greatest candy in the world. Everybody wants to take his candy. And yes, that explains how Slugworth and the other two that I don't remember his names like are jealous. But why would they be jealous when they act like money doesn't matter? And yet they do act like the money matters because they say the poor people, this there's one of them is like, "Oh, I throw up anytime I hear the word poor." But they don't bring that home enough. Like I said, you can't say that these are rich moguls. You can't say that these are rich mogul people and then have them pay the police in chocolate. You can't have them pay the Vatican in chocolate. That that doesn't make no sense, you see? So despite them saying that yeah, these are rich people and they hate poor people and horrible things happen, the girl's mom was the brother of Slugsworth, so that's his niece and he knew that and that's why he made her stay there because he didn't want her to inherit anything. Which is a little crazy because all he had to do was like raise her and be nice to her and then maybe she would have cut you in or even better you could have like I don't know not even better because it's horrible but like he could have like had her made her have an accident or whatever and taken the money anyway but like it's kind of like the dumbest thing in the world to like have her close to you but not close and then make an enemy out of her who is the true heir to the Slugsworth manor or whatever. It's just like this story doesn't know what it wants to be. And I already know what the story of Willy Wonka is or what it should be. And it was not that. Like I said, they make him start out poor, and that's great. This is a good start. They make instead of money matter, it's chocolate, like kid stuff, like what we are talking about hard knock life. And then you add the Oompa Loompas. You add the Oompa Loompas, like Oompa Loompas are literally like 5% of this movie. And he comes and goes and he talks to him and I think he's crazy. I think Wonka is crazy. I don't think that he is real, but then the little girl sees him at the end. So it's like, wow. So what they make it seem like it's very isolated when he sees the Oompa Loompa. And he's made out to look crazy. But he ends up saving both of them. And if he didn't save them, then who did? That's why I said whatever all the Oompa Loompa thing that what the Oompa Loompa did, the black girl could have did. And I'm not saying that she needs to be like an Oompa Loompa now and be singing stuff while she's the slave of Wonka. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is what he did in the story saved him. What he did in the story, um, be a little conflict. Like she could have conflicted with him, but they're more like friends. And I'm not saying that they have to be enemies the whole time. Like the same conclusion could have came up because obviously that is her father or her not her father, but her relative. Obviously she's related to him. But like, I don't know. It was a little dumb. Super dumb dumbs. I hated it. It was 0 out of 10. Like it's not good. I would never watch it again. There was no reason to make it. And then they're trying to make me feel bad and sad whenever he sees his mom as a ghost. Like I said, Willy Wonka's unwell. So whatever he sees, I'm not really gonna cry about because he's unwell. It clearly shows that people don't see what he sees. But except the Oompa Loompa's real. Like what? Like what? What you talking about? So I'm kind of done talking about Willy Wonka. It's super annoying. It's super annoying. I don't want to do that no more. How are you gonna be rich and then pay people, bribe people in chocolate? This ain't fun and games. If you all about the money, that's a poor thing to do. That's sure a poor thing to do. And yes, you could be like, I don't know. All I know is whatever. Let's talk about Jujutsu Kaisen.